Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And hi, I bid to my beloved and respected panels. My name is Afiq bin Yusri. Today, I would like to present about my research study, which is the topic, the relationship between physical activity, participation, and the influence on environmental behavior among UiTM's Roman 3 students. Before I start with the presentation, I will show the presentation outlines. In this presentation, it consists 3 parts, which are Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3. In Chapter 1 consists of background of study, statement of the problem, and significance of the study. In Chapter 2 consists of literature review, model theory, and conceptual theory. And the last chapter, Chapter 3, consists of research design, sampling, instrumentation, and data analysis. Now, I will start with background of the study as it related with independent variable in the research topic, which is the first one is physical activity. Physical activity can be defined as any body movement produced by skeletal muscles that results in energy expenditure. There are evidence supporting a close correlation between health and physical activity, and the exposure to nature may have direct health benefits by Wei Tafang, Eric Ng, and Mei Chuan Chang in 2017. Next, physical activity participation. Physical activity participation describes experience in physically demanding movement, sports, game, or recreational play that results in energy expenditure and perceptions of communal involvement by Samantha May Rose in 2016. Continue with the next slide. Also, in background of the study, for the dependent variable, it related with environmental behavior. This behavior involves adopting attitudes and behaviors aiming to minimize any adverse effects on natural environments by Dupaco in 2019. For the second one is pro-environmental behavior. Pro-environmental behavior is a set of behaviors practiced by individuals that seek to take measured actions to promote positive changes in the environment and limit the effects of human negligence by Yusliza in 2020. Next, I will move to the statement of the problem. Involvement of students in physical activity can increase the student confidence, peer acceptance, leadership skills, and empathy. These are just 4 of the social benefits children receive from sports and physical activity. However, physical inactivity is a global problem that increases the risk of many chronic diseases and shortens life expectancy. The built environment contributes to physical inactivity through accessibility of amenities and transportation patterns. With the better urban planning, cities could be designed to enhance active transportation and population health on a permanent basis by Mikko Karmaniemi, 2018. Different types of environments in physical activity can have different effect on environmental behavior, so the researchers want to identify physical activity participation among UiTM's Roman 3 students in this study. Now, I will describe my study's research objective. My study has 3 research objectives. For the first one, to identify the physical activity participation among UiTM's Roman 3 students. Second, to identify the influence of environmental behavior among UiTM's Roman 3 students. And the last one, to investigate the relationship between physical activity participation and the influence of environmental behavior. Now, let's move to the significance of study. The findings of this study can help other students and society gain information about the relationship between physical activity participation and the influence on environmental behavior among university students. The information in the study can assist in raise awareness in other higher education institutions, management departments in developing ideas and strategies to encourage students to participate in more physical activity and sports at their university. Now I will continue with Chapter 2, which is literature review. For the first one is, physical activity that is carried out in nature is discussed for bringing together those positive impacts and even having synergistic effects by Barbara Egenshang in 2019. The other point in literature review is green exercise results in significantly greater effective attentional and physiological improvements when compared to exercise in indoors or outdoors with environments in which buildings are prominent and often dominated by synthetic or man-made materials by Mike Rogerson in 2016. Next, I will explain about the theory that relate with this study, which is social cognitive theory and physical activity mechanisms of behavior change, critique and legacy. Social cognitive theory, which is used in psychological education and communication, holds that observing others in the context of social interactions, experience and outside media influence can directly relate to portions of an individual's knowledge acquisition. Albert Bandura advanced this theory as an extension of his social learning theory. According to the theory, when people see a model perform a behavior and the consequences of that behavior, they remember the sequence of events and use this information to guide future behaviors. As you can see, the conceptual framework that relate in this study, which is relationship between physical activity participation and the influence on environmental behavior among UiTM Seremban 3 students. So, for the independent variable include types of activity, types of environment, whether outdoor or indoor, and participation in physical activity. All of these variables can be linked to see how a participant's environmental behavior change. I will then proceed to the study's research design. This study employs a non-experimental research design with a quantitative approach. This design was chosen because this research study will involve an analysis and data collection process using random surveys. So, the numerical form of the quality and satisfaction ratings will be explained to answer the research question that we use the correlational research design to answer. To align with this research objective of the relationship between physical activity participation and influence of environmental behavior, correlational research design will be used. For the next slide, I will carry on with the sampling. The study's target population is UiTM Seremban 3 students. According to the UiTM campus or official websites, the total number of students in UiTM Seremban 3 is 5,651 students. The sample size is 434 people who responded to the survey by Keji and Morgan, 1970. The estimate sample must be taken from the student, but the population size is 361, so a 20% sample must be added to avoid the unwritten rates being out. Next is instrumentation. The researcher will measure two types of variable in the study. For the first one is physical activity participation and environmental behavior. The researcher will use a questionnaire from 2017 study by Wei Tafang, Eric Ng and Mei Chuan Chang. The study of discussion will be divided into three sections, which is Section A, Section B and Section C. Section A focuses on demographics. Section B contains items related to subjective and descriptive norms, and Section C contains items related to environmental behavior. As you can see, this is the data collection procedure required for this study. The first step is, I will obtain permission from the UiTM Transformation Unit to obtain the necessary data. The second step is, I will run a pilot study to see if the question is valid using Cronbach's alpha. The third step is, I refer to and obtain permission from the supervisor to cross the study's topics. The fourth step is, I will distribute the questions to the respondent via Google Form, and the final step is, I will review the respondent's question answers and collect the data for the evaluation. Now I will move to data analysis. Descriptive analysis is used in data analysis to identify physical activity participation among UiTM Seremban 3 students and the influence of environmental behavior among UiTM Seremban 3 students. The Pearson correlation coefficient, also known as the Pearson product moment correlation coefficient, is a measure used to determine the relationship rather than the difference between two quantitative variables, which is in this study were physical activity participation and the influence of environmental behavior. In this study, the researcher will use IBM SPSS version 26 to analyze the questionnaire. All of the data collected will be compiled into an SPSS file in order to transform the raw data and provide a variety of information in order to identify all of the factors in this situation. The descriptive and correlation analysis will be used in the study. Okay, here's the research goal and the data analysis. The final one is a reference. This is a reference from the slide that was presented. That's all from me, and thank you.